So what is the difference between the new SPARC Solar and the SPARC AR? The SPARC AR has been around for some time now, and it's had a couple of updates over that lifetime, but the concept still remains pretty much the same. You have a really stout, really rigid, tiny micro red dot here with a unique form factor. The AAA battery integrated into the base here, the digital buttons on the rear integrated into the base as well, which sticks it permanently at that AR-15 height. It can go between lower 1/3 or absolute co-witness. But otherwise, that helps make it a snag-free optic. We have the turrets here that are covered up by the body that comes around on the sides. There's no knobs or any other dials that stick off the sides, with everything else being included here in the base. Inside, it's about as simple as you can get, with a 2 MOA red dot that you can use in close quarter situations, and the 2 MOA size is relatively small, so it allows you to have a finer aiming point at mid-range distances. One of the most notable updates over its lifetime and all of the new SPARC ARs that you're going to see out there is that the battery life has been dramatically improved to 50,000 hours on the middle setting, and also its true night vision compatibility on the lowest 2 powers. Now this little guy is really exciting. This is the SPARC Solar. It's really an entirely different red dot inside and out, even though both of these optics are small little micro red dots intended for, you know, people who want to put something on their AR-15 and keep it nice and lightweight and fast, or it can even go, in this case, because this has a detachable base instead of an integrated base like the SPARC AR, this has a little bit more flexibility in what it can go on, like 10-22, shotguns, AK-47s, really any firearm can pretty much fit something this small, especially when you put it on either the included AR-15 height skeletonized base you see it located on right now, or the included low mount that it also comes with in the box. All right, and we've been talking a lot about mounting, but probably the most exciting thing about this sight, it even says it in the name, is the fact that it has this solar panel on top. Now that's not used for charging the battery, it's actually used to power the sight itself when there is the appropriate ambient light to do so, which really improves the battery life tremendously, because anytime you have that light to power the sight, it'll be using that instead of the battery. So we even list this at 150,000 plus hours. A lot of that depends on your ambient light, and honestly too, we need to say a lot of that just depends on your battery as well. We would suggest probably doing a battery change just due to the limitations of a battery before you even come close to 150,000 hours. But really excellent battery life nonetheless in this sight. Now, to go along with that amazing battery life, we've also included another feature that we've heard a lot of feedback on, which is auto on. Now, the way that works is that if you yourself go into these side illumination settings here, these buttons on the side, and you turn off your sight, it will not automatically turn on when it senses motion. But if you leave the sight on and it goes to its default auto off after around 14 hours or so, then once it senses motion after that auto off, it will come back on to the last setting that you had it, and then you'll be able to go about using it just like you normally would when it turned on. You wouldn't have to push these buttons to turn it back on. Now, the profile of this optic is a little bit different from the SPARC AR, and even though it does have this sort of knob off to the side where the CR2032 battery goes, it does have some pretty slick turrets on the side that help maintain as much of a snag-free profile as possible. This elevation turret and windage turret are actually both not capped like you see on the SPARC AR. They're exposed there, but flat and flush with the sight. And you would go in with a small flat head or the included tool here that you get with the sight to make your adjustments. And then once they've been made, again, they are nice and flush. They won't get bumped in really any kind of vigorous use on top of your rifle or whatever other firearm you're using it on. Inside, just like the SPARC AR, we have a 2 MOA red dot, which again, very simple, very quick in close quarters, but not too big and not covering up too much target downrange as you begin to stretch the legs of your AR or, again, whatever other firearm you're using with this optic on top. Of the 12 illumination intensity settings, the lowest 2 are true night vision compatible as well on this sight. And almost forgot to mention, each sight comes with its own method of protecting the lens and the window on the sight. The SPARC Solar here has a bikini style cover that attaches on to the battery housing, and the SPARC AR has a full cover that goes all the way around the optic and then has the tethered covers connected to it. So that is the general rundown on the difference between the SPARC Solar and the SPARC AR. If you have any questions about both of these optics or one in particular, as usual, just let us know in those comments below. Hit us up on social media, phone, email, any way you can and want to talk to us. We would love to talk to you as well. Let us know what other videos you want to see too, what questions you want us to answer, and otherwise, we will see you next time, and thanks for watching as always. SPARC AR has been around for some time now, and it's had a couple of... What's that word?
Updates?